Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast after an eventful practice over at Hallis Hall. Really the big practice of the week, I think, the way things worked out. Training camp coverage on the CHGO Bears Podcast is presented by Ray Chevrolet. Shop the Freedom to Save sales event all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. Serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive. Adam Hoge, Carman with you. Nicholas Moreano will join us from Hallis Hall very, very shortly. But I'm guessing everybody out there watching right now live is wondering the same thing I am, and that is, what the hell is Carm wearing?
Yeah, I appreciate that introduction, Adam, and I missed you too, being gone the last 6 days at family camp, Camp Nebagamon, greatest place in the world. Always tough to leave you guys, but they only do family camp August 13th to the 19th, roughly each year.
They need to move it. They're going to move it by next year. I'm gonna make some phone calls. I might even come if they move it, but that might be the deal that needs to be made.
I'll talk to Adam Kaplan, Steph Kaplan, outgoing director, see if they can make that their final move. But honestly, it's super great week for me and everybody. But it's always hard to step off a training camp and then come back in, which is why as we start our best and worst, I'll pause on mine, Hope, because I want to hear yours. And
hang on before we jump into that, because we do have just a little bit of a curveball today. It's a bold shirt choice by you. Well, technically, I think right now we're actually not live on the Fast channel, but we do want to promote it because this will probably air eventually on our new Roku channel, which we're very excited about. Shout out to the Roku channel. You can now watch this show and all of ours. And Steven's telling me this will be live on the Roku channel at 7 o'clock. Great. So you might be watching this, depending on when you're watching it, on the Roku channel. It is available now. All you need is a Roku. And it's free. And then you go to live TV and you could search for CHGO. You can go to the sports categories and you could see our CHGO logo right next to the NFL logo and the NBA logo and the MLB logo and NBC and Rich Eisen right there. CHGO. We are very excited about this. As you might have seen the news the last couple of days, our company making some big strides, some big steps as we continue our rise.
I got to tell you, first of all, super proud about everything that's going on with ALLCITY and CHGO and just being the part of it that we are. But I got to tell you that, as I come back into the fold here today, Hoge's first words to me were, "You leave and everything takes off." Next thing you know, the Komet show's going berserk. We had a phenomenal Bengals pregame. We had a phenomenal Bengals postgame. Roku's taken off with CHGO, and the key component in all of this underlining is that I was gone. So it was great to see Adam today. I sat down next to him. He didn't notice that I was there or acted like he didn't care for a good 10 minutes. And then he turned to me, he's like, "Hey, you aware that while you were gone, everything went to the moon?" So go ahead.
That is a true story. And the reason I wasn't talking to you is because I was buried into my computer cutting the question you asked to Tyreek Stevenson, which maybe Steven can turn around for us here. Well, maybe we'll play it on the show, because that was, if you needed a moment of Carm being back, that was definitely it. He let the whole media room know. He let Hard Knocks know. He let the Chicago Bears know.
Well, I'll be honest, when I was catching up on everything yesterday, and I'm still, I'm 68% there. But the first thing I did was watch Hard Knocks, and I hear Nick's question, and I'm like, all right, this is enough. Enough is enough. I will hear myself, damn it, and not just be a background picture somewhere. So we'll see if today did it.
I don't think that one's going to make it. We'll see. We will play it for you here shortly. By the way, Hard Knocks tonight. We are going to be live as soon as it's over. Hopefully it airs on time on Max. That was the other thing you missed last week. The show just dropping an hour later than it was supposed to, which is screwing up our show. We're supposed to be joined though by Shannon Furman, who's like executive producer of the show, NFL Films. And she's going to be on our show tonight, right after Hard Knocks. That's going to be super cool. And shout out to Greg Braggs, who got that done for us. So make sure you're tuned in after the show. And just to pay off that tease, we might as well play that question that you asked Tyreek Stevenson. because apparently we have it ready. Here it is.
Has he been talking to you while he's having his, I don't know, way with you, so to speak?
I wouldn't say that,
If you didn't hear it fully, I said, has Keenan Allen been talking to you while he's sort of had his way with you? Because Tyreek Stevenson was giving Keenan Allen so much physical and verbal credit for how difficult he is to guard.
Yeah.
By the way, quick shout out to I just want, people are talking about my shirt. My shirt was made by Layla, and yeah. So there you go. That I did not make this tie-dye Hoge. It was Layla. Thank you for my shirt. Appreciate it. You can go now.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. So there you go.
You can go now. Great shirt. And then way to justify it. That's a good job.
So I put it on, it had nothing to do with it. I couldn't do this. That's what I'm saying. Just like apparently Tyreek is having trouble covering Keenan in practice, to bring it straight back to Bears. Hoagie, how you like that?
Okay.
So, but you didn't like that wording? That was bad wording?
No, it was funny wording. I didn't have a problem with it. I'm very happy you worded it the way you did. It gave us some content and made me laugh.
Okay.
It gave me something else to do on a busy day, but we got it done.
I gotta say, I am in the coming back from vacation mode, and I show up today. Hoge has been grinding out the days mode. We're in a different land right now. We were together 6 days ago, and now I'm just I've been in the woods. I feel I could do 12 shows right now, so I'll just try to calm down.
In all fairness, you did call me yesterday at about noon, and I picked up the phone and I was just like, "Please come home." Maybe that was 2 days ago. I think that was actually 2 days ago. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring in Nick. Nick is live at Hallis Hall. He is straight out of practice. We had sort of a different windy schedule today. So practice actually just got done. Nick was there. Braggs was there too, for the record, but he's got to get home in time for Hard Knocks since he lives 3 states away. And so Nick, that's why Braggs isn't on the show today, but he will be on tonight on after Hard Knocks. Nick, we heard that after Carman and I left, there was some fisticuffs and a pretty decent. My favorite part about these training camp dust ups is do we call it a dust up? There's dust ups, there's brouhahas, there's fisticuffs, there's full blown brawls. Where is this on the training camp fight meter?
I wouldn't go so far as to say it was a brawl, but I mean the first one, you guys, and I'm glad I went back because in our Slack channel, Hoge, you put jip, and I'm like, did you mean to say dip? I need to get out of here because we need to do the show.
Oh.
And that's why I started leaving. And then I heard stuff happening. So I got back in time for both these fights. But the first one, again, fights, quote unquote. But Javon Dexter laid out Ian Wheeler. This was a full on tackled Wheeler after he crossed the line of scrimmage. And then Tevin Jenkins immediately got in Dexter's face and they had to be separated. Montez Sweat goes in there. He's barking at the offense. And that one, I guess, on the meter of fisticuffs, brouhahas, whatever you want to say, that was on the lower end. It was actually the second sequence of guys kind of getting into it with each other that I would almost consider it kind of a fight because there's so many people involved. It was actually a run to the right side by Velus Jones Jr. And I believe it was TJ Edwards that laid out Velus. And then everybody and their grandmother got involved in this, whatever you want to call it. You saw, I think Gerald Everett was kind of playing a little bit. He was on the back end trying to jump on the pile, but there was just offense, defense, all getting together and then having to be separated. That one was more escalated than the first one, but tempers are flying here. The Bears have been in training camp what seems like forever now, you guys. And today at the end of this practice, we saw a little bit of that. Even when Ian Wheeler had a run down the left sideline, one of the safeties kind of hit him a little late. And Ian Wheeler's I just got popped. And he's doing, shrugging, what are we doing here? I'm out of bounds. And you could just tell that, I think it's the guys are 20 days away, whatever it is from week 1 of the regular season. I think it's getting to that time right now.
Yeah. Well, we experienced some of that in the media bleachers today too, which I won't go into the details, but there was some verbal back and forth. None of us were involved though.
I wasn't there. I think I was sitting with Gregory at the time. I'm bummed I missed it.
I'll just say this because it doesn't really matter. It happens a lot. Carm, you've seen it for years, going back to the Michael Jordan days. It's always the photogs involved, and usually someone's right, and they're trying to get their job done, and it was great. That's all. But it literally in Chicago media history, there's like one of those a week somewhere in one of the stadiums or practice facilities, Carm?
I mean, it happened to me where I was one photog whose name I will not I don't even know his name, so he wasn't one of the main guys, but he got mad at me that I was in his position. He's like, he looks at me, he's like, "Get out of here, $30,000 a year guy." And I'm like, "Hey, I make $32,000, buddy. You don't jip my $2,000." This was a couple of years ago, but not too long. Yeah,
it was February.
I'm like, hey, don't settle down there, big time camera guy, throwing out salaries and all.
Well,
so
I am proud to say I have great relationships with all of them. They all do a phenomenal job. Ike, Matt, Dwight, Jeff, all of them.
I'm an Ike guy. Dwight's right there.
Who's not an Ike guy?
Ike's so good.
Sure.
Yeah. Nick, it was interesting though, this practice. I guess in hindsight, you shouldn't be surprised by it because they will probably go in a sort of a split practice tomorrow, walk through. We should have mentioned off the top, starters not playing. I'm guessing you guys all heard about that by now. We will talk about that in the next segment. So starters not playing in Kansas City, probably see a split practice where the starters do a little bit more than the guys going through a walkthrough before the game. So that kind of left today. If you're going to get a big training camp practice, pads on, long practice, that kind of left today to be that day. And that's ultimately what we saw out there.
Yeah. And like, even after those, again, fights that were happening towards the end, the Bears still had a long drive period towards the end of practice where the offense lined up around the 20-yard line, had to drive the length of the field, and still had to go through that after getting into these heated, fights that were kind of happening towards the end. And the Bears offense was able to end that period with a fade route to Gerald Everett. Now, this is going to be interesting. I think Hard Knocks is going to reveal whether or not Gerald Everett actually got both feet in bounds, but it was called on the field, a touchdown. Obviously, the defensive coaching staff did not like it, but it was a perfect ball from Caleb Williams to Gerald Everett. So they still had to do that after everything that seemed like it already had happened while these, tempers are flying. So it was definitely a longer practice. And even at some points you had, the first team offense on one side, the first team defense on the other side, kind of simulating that practice too. So Bears got a lot of work in today. And, I think ultimately that's what you want to do on this. Again, you need to, with a short week, you obviously want to be smart about how you do it, but they made the most out of this Tuesday practice.
Cosign, it was competitive out there, and what I liked a lot was there were some really tight windows, and Caleb was zinging it in there, trying to hit different dudes. Like Keenan had one ball that was like two guys were in there. So it did feel like a little amped up. I also thought it was interesting before the practice because we heard from Matt Eberflus telling us that the starters weren't going to start, and then Montez Sweat comes up there like, "Hey, how do you feel about not playing Thursday night against the Chiefs?" He's like, "Huh?" And was he kidding or was he not kidding? Because it seemed to me like he really didn't know. I thought that was real. So he was,
no, he didn't know that we knew.
Oh,
exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. He knew he wasn't.
Okay.
He knew that he wasn't playing. He didn't know that Flus had already told the media.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. That's how that would normally work. But okay, fine. Fair enough. I still thought that it was like a little bit. I would love to have an informal anonymous poll go through the old locker room. Who wants to play in this game and who doesn't want to? And, obviously I think the vets who feel like they're ready don't necessarily need to play on a short week, and save themselves for when it really matters. But I would bet that Caleb wants to play myself personally. I think he'd want another shot at it before he actually has to do it for real against the Titans.
All right. Well, we'll talk more about that here, and we are going to hit our best and worst, which we usually do off the top, but kind of a special deal with practice today. So we will hit that in a moment. But first, it's getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles. That's something we can all get behind for the health of the planet, for the well-being of all of us who share it.
That's exactly right, Adam Hoge. And that is why our friends at ComEd are my favorite friends in the entire world. My guy, the electric grid, it does keep evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as we all move with confidence towards an electric tomorrow. With a one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense.
So what should business owners do?
They should go to ComEd.com/clean to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, don't wait. Start making your plan today to go electric. Good for the business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
Did you say ComEd.com/clean?
You know I did. Go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come. Do you like that? Like that's my new pregnant pause here, Hoge. What do you think?
I didn't love it. I kind of panicked for a second.
I
was worried.
Same.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna pull up the ad reads right now.
I absolutely didn't love it.
I didn't know if you were having a medical emergency or what was happening.
No, there was that was unbelievable. I just
actually it was completely believable.
Well, you know me, yes, that's absolutely true. I just wanted to make sure that everything was copacetic, and Nick now wants to tell us about something. All right, there you go, Nick.
Oh, I do. Like I was okay.
No,
I got you. True Fan Travel. We're going to Arizona. TrueFanTravel.com. Come with us to AZ. It's going to be a great weekend with a little Chicago, Arizona football action.
It's gonna be
and
amazing.
True Fan Travel is your passport to the world of sports. Over 8,000 fans traveled over 145 trips. You don't want to just watch the game. You want to live it. That's what we're going to do in Arizona. I got the website pulled up right now. So you go to truefantravel.com. You find the CHGO logo. You see our trip to Arizona in there. You can also join us in London if you want. You can actually pick some of the individual events in London, but the whole package for London's already full. Arizona still available for you. Come check it out. Includes a hotel stay, true fan takeover party. We got Bears alumni joining us on the trip. Corey Wooten's going to be there. Includes a game ticket, an all-inclusive tailgate, and a full itinerary of events throughout the week. It's going to be a lot of fun. So go to truefantravel.com. Come with us to the desert for an awesome weekend of football.
Alrighty. Can't wait to see everybody there. And I can't wait to hear from you, Adam Hoge, as we start off our best and worst here on a newsy day out at ALLCITY. Hoge, what do you got, buddy? Give me your best.
Yeah, my best is actually, and maybe this will be a little bit of curveball, but it's a lesson that we can all adapt and we can all make decisions based on what we're seeing. But my best is actually that the starters are not going to play in Kansas City. And I will admit, I did not think I would be here a couple weeks ago. I don't think the Bears thought they'd be here. I believe the plan was for them to play in the last 3 preseason games. And I think that after what we saw in the last 2 games, we can talk about this in a little bit more detail coming up, but they have looked at sort of enough of the positions across the board and are correctly looking at this as of, all right, for what you're going to get out of the preseason, for what you're going to show, for what you're going to see across the line of scrimmage from you, we've pretty much maxed out the gain, the benefit of playing. And I think that that's okay. I think that 4th series, that last series that they got on Saturday ended up being a very big one to make that conclusion. So I'm all for it. That's my best of the day. And we'll go into a little bit more detail about that in a second. My worst, I still don't really understand why this is happening or why there has to be questions about Keenan Allen's weight or ability. I'm very confused by it. If there's questions about some of his routes in that game the other day, it just seems very silly. I think Keenan Allen knows how to run routes. He's got a long ass career of doing so. And I would chalk that up as nothing other than it's a preseason game. And I don't know that Keenan Allen wanted to be out there in the preseason game. And I don't blame him. It's a guy that usually doesn't play in the preseason and has the last couple weeks. And I'm not even saying I had an issue with the routes, but I know some people have brought that up as a conversation. And that's all I would chalk it up to, because in practice, this dude looks like Keenan Allen. He's been making plays like Keenan Allen. And so just the fact that there's even teammates, having to take questions because this is a conversation, it's just like, how do we get to these points? But I think like the fights in practice or in the media stands, everyone's just sick of training camp at this point, and we're all just fighting through it.
Yeah. Keenan Allen ain't fat. Keenan Allen got talked about by a cornerback and Tyreek Stevenson today in a way that like very few wide receivers ever do. Things I'm worried about with the Chicago Bears. Keenan Allen's like last. That is interesting convo. Nick, why don't you give us your best and worst?
Yeah, I'm going best seeing Jaquan Brisker get out on the practice field again. It was nice seeing number 9, and he was as vocal as he's ever been, and had a couple of nice run stops during throughout the training camp practice. So it was nice just seeing one of the safeties back in there with, the secondary that's trying to come back together. But then on the other side of that, my worst is Kevin Byard right now. He's dealing with that soft tissue injury that Matt Eberflus revealed today. So one safety comes in, one safety is out, and Kevin Byard never misses. So it's not something that you normally see with a guy that's been consistently in for, available for his entire career. So best is just seeing number 9 out there, but do want to see Kevin Byard to see what that complete secondary actually looks like. And I'm sure with the time that there's still, we have here before week 1, I'm sure we'll get to see those guys out there, but right now it's still incomplete in the secondary.
Yeah, the Byard thing, that ain't great, because you do worry, like once you start to get dinged when you never have, you wonder if it can be turned around. It's, when age is a factor with a veteran like that. I liked what you said, Hoge, as far as why you picked them not playing as your best, but I am going to quibble with it and start out actually with my worst, them being the Bears starters not playing. I absolutely loved, it was great to come back and watch the Bengals game, which for whatever reason, it just wasn't working for me live up there. Anyway, so I'm rewatching the game, and I just felt so happy that, yes, you don't want to start with a 3 and out, and then you're deep into the second quarter. We're leaving him out there. Let them get a rhythm, move the ball down the field, score a touchdown, get a field goal. I thought all of that was great. It seemed like they were doing it at least somewhat on the fly. If he had played great earlier in the game, then maybe he wouldn't have played as long. And then today, Flew saying that they've been making this decision basically on the fly. So it was a whole lot. I enjoyed all of that. However, for me, I was looking for flip on the up, man. Like Caleb has talked about wanting to play, getting as many reps as possible. You have a huge gap between the 22nd and September 8th. You have a 22-day gap between the Bengals game and the Titans game. And you have a rookie quarterback who you're relying on big. So playing him in 2 of the 4 preseason games, even though he did get, 43 actual snaps, just seems light to me. I would have liked to have seen them get out there, couple of series. I know that it's always a risk playing football, but at the end of the day, even if they're going against the Chiefs' 3rd stringers, I would have liked to have seen him play. And not just Caleb, but that the offensive line is still a work in progress here. Like there's a lot of work in progresses going on. So, being ready to go week 1, I would have leaned into playing at least some on Thursday night. Plus they've got a bunch of Thursday night games. So getting them 2 of them. So getting them ready on a short week, I saw at least a little bit of benefit in that, but more so just the reps. But my best on the day, and I don't want to be, too much about me, but I'm a me guy. And I thought that my return today was absolutely just stupendous. I thought I came into the room and I looked Matt Eberflus in the eye and asked him a great question about the decision making that he went through to sit Caleb, and he looked back at me, and I felt excellent about it. And I thought that me and Tyreek had great rapport. And then, Hoge, of course, is, he's got big practices today and so much going on. And yet he was focused on my question. So I really thought that my return gave practice a boost today that was quite frankly needed. And, I think people have been, this is the dog days, and I'm not in them because I took a little siesta. So I thought that my energy was key and ultimately landed the Bears in a great training camp fight. Carm for the win. Thank you very much.
Probably not.
Okay. And I like that we have drops now. This is a huge ad. This is very good. Can I ask you guys here on best and worst, just as an addendum to the best and worst, who is the Bears punt returner?
Oh, did you
Did this-
hear this argument going around in the stands today?
I did, and Kevin Fishbane asked me, and I said DeAndre Carter, and Fishbane looked at me like I was the biggest moron on the planet. And did he not brought here to return punts? Like, is it really going to be Josh Blackwell? Which that's fine. I like Josh Blackwell. Like, sweet blitz the other day, great. But like, that's the punt returner. So I'm asking you guys, just because I missed a couple days here. Who is the Bears punt returner?
I mean, I think it's between those two guys. Like, we see Rome every day practicing, but I just don't think that's actually the option that the Bears are running with at this point. We haven't seen in the preseason. If you wanted to actually get a look at Rome as a punt returner, you probably would have done it in the preseason. They're not doing that. So who's going to be the day one punt returner for the Bears? I mean, I'm surprised Fishbane looked at you crazy when you said DeAndre Carter.
I don't know that he did, because that seemed to be the most popular answer.
Okay, because I thought he looked at me like
he was given a count, and I think DeAndre Carter was the leader in the clubhouse. The one thing I will say is I'd be surprised if DeAndre Carter, Velus Jones, and Dante Pettis all made the team.
Yeah, that's you would be or would not be.
No, I would be. I would be. I think when you factor in they have 3 clear starters at wide receiver, and then Tyler Scott, who I don't think they're giving up on yet. I don't see a spot for, all those other wide receivers, even if Velus is now technically a running back. I keep telling people he's the kick returner, can do multiple things. So yeah, I think it's probably DeAndre Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I gave the answer. My answer, actually, I hated my answer about 5 seconds after I gave it, which was somebody not on the roster.
That's not a terrible answer.
It's possible, but I don't know. It just seems
I
like
I don't know if they're in that position. Like, they have guys. It's just, and again, Dunze would be like your very last. If Carter were to get injured and Blackwell, then you put in a Dunze. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how they actually play it out there.
And for the record, I get that this is no disrespect to special teams coach Adam Hoge on the show, that it's a little bit of a, not the biggest issue on the team right now. But if you put somebody back there that messes it up horribly, it's a big deal.
They literally kept Trent Taylor on the roster all of last year because he could catch it.
Right.
Entire roster spot the whole year because they could trust him to catch the ball. He couldn't do much after that, but he could catch it. It's important.
Okay. Right. And so if Carter's not ready to do it, if he's not fully healthy, which direction do they go? I don't know. Who is the most sure-handed guy that you could put back there that you don't, in my mind, that you don't care if he gets hurt? Because I'm not putting Rome Odunze back there.
I don't know about the last part. Don't care if he gets hurt, but Josh Blackwell he's been pretty sure-handed when he catches the punts. Like, he doesn't seem to struggle with it. And he did it in college too at Duke. So again, it's not the most dynamic, but if you want somebody that just does the bare minimum, catch the football, make smart decisions with it too. Obviously, that comes with being a punt returner, but maybe that will be another way he can contribute on this football team.
Well, and it is important to remember, though, that for this specific spot, it is somebody you could add a week before the season and plug them in there.
Right.
Yeah, they can catch up on offense and defense kind of as they go from that point on. But if you do need to go out and just grab somebody on the waiver wire, somebody comes available that you don't think was going to, or there's a trade possibility out there, there are a lot of moves on that's my favorite part of training camp, to be honest with you. We got 90 players, and then like a lot of these years, 5 new guys show up like the day after final cuts, and you're like, that was a lot of wasted time talking about, Daniel Hardy for, I don't know. Actually, Hardy might make the team at this rate.
Hardy's been good.
Poles, I liked what Poles had to say about him yesterday, which we're going to also bring to the conversation a little bit later on.
On my re-entry in, I listened to the Hogan Johns podcast and heard exactly that comment by Ryan Poles. But he's like even Hardy, which I was
he mentioned him before Don Rob.
He did say him before now, but it's like even Hardy. Like, okay.
Yeah.
If I was Hardy,
Well,
I would not like that word in front of my name.
all right. Well, let's when we come back, I'm gonna make Carm's argument for the starters playing for him.
Oh, great.
Because there is a good argument for it. I'm going to go against it, but there is a good argument for it. In the meantime, listen up here, Carm, because we're driven by the search for better. And when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. And Indeed is leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day. Their matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. So the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Indeed. And get ready for the season ahead with the quality shades built to last. I just got a new pair that I'm going to be unveiling later in the week. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with the premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is amazing. They've got hundreds of options to choose from. You will find the perfect pair to match your unbelievable style. Yes, listen, I wore them at the beach on vacation. I wear them at Bears training camp. I wear them when I'm driving. I use my Shady Rays every single day because they are that sweet. And exclusively for you, the CHGO listener, Shady Rays, best deal of the season. You go to shadyrays.com, use the code CHGO. You get 35% off your polarized sunglasses. You should try them yourself. They are the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Prices are right. The look is right. Your life is right when you are wearing Shady Rays.
All right. We are going to spring Nicholas Moreano to go get all that awesome content for ALLCHGO.com. Great stuff, Nick. And thanks for jumping on with us.
Yeah. See you guys tomorrow. Adios.
That's right.
9:27 a.m. I'll be there tomorrow.
They scheduled an extra practice just for Carm because he missed so many. They're like, we have a makeup practice. So yeah.
I'm very excited just to I'm gonna get a little cleanup of the old hair tomorrow, and then I'm gonna come right to practice. It's gonna be perfect, Hoge. I'm gonna be fired up tomorrow.
There you go. Yeah.
Thank
you. And we will have a show tomorrow at 2:00 and then jump right into pre and post on Thursday night as well. All right. So when it comes to the starters playing in Kansas City or not playing, I mean, Flus basically said most of the starters, almost all of them, kind of left the door open for a couple, and it's probably depending on rep counts because some guys have played a lot, some have not. Nate Davis. So I think, well, first of all, let me say this to Carm's point. If you're somebody that wants to see the starters play, to me, the argument for them playing would be the same exact argument that they went out there for that extra series against the Bengals on Saturday, which was you don't know what you're going to see if you don't actually play, right? You don't know what you're going to learn if they're not actually out there playing. And in that case, Saturday, by making an adjustment in the middle of the game and putting those guys out there, you got some pretty damn good results to go after that you feel good about. I tend to think that they would have played in Kansas City if they hadn't come out there in that last drive. I think they're playing on Thursday. So that would be the argument to me, is like, well, you don't know what you're going to learn Thursday night, good or bad, that you could either feel good about or fix. That would be the argument to me, Carm, that they should play at least a little bit. My counter to that is that, I mean, Saturday just seemed like sort of a wasted opportunity until they made that pivot to come out there. So I felt like that was more of a very specific in-game decision that was smart. And now that you did learn that stuff, I just don't know you're going to get more out of it, because it is the preseason, because what you're playing against is vanilla, because of what you're showing is vanilla. And they've reached that rep count that we've been talking about all month long. They got there with Caleb Williams, so they're good.
All right. And I don't want to make the argument that they're not good, but if you have one dessert, that is enough. You don't need to have the hot fudge sundae after you have the chocolate shake. You had your chocolate shake. All right. This is not that. This is like you did, yoga in the morning to get yourself loose. Now, could you benefit by lifting some weights right now? Getting on the track? Yeah, you could. You'll get that much further along. And the Bears are not there yet offensively. So I'm the defense I'm not worried about. Like when I'm watching, I don't think they're going to have this elite defense that it's being talked about, but I think the Bears defense is going to be very good. I think it's going to be real solid. I don't think it's going to be, I think you can feel pretty comfortable that the Bears defense is going to get stops when they need to get stops. And I don't think they're going to lead the league in points allowed either, but it's going to be pretty damn good. With the offense, you are still finding your way up front, and you are still getting Caleb to his comfort zone, in my mind. I understand we've seen the flashes, and we all know that it is there, and it's just a matter of time, in my mind, until he completely gets comfortable and unleashes it, which is why I would play him and let him just have that much more. I don't know how much you would gain, half of 1%, 3% better, whatever it would be. How many touchdown passes has he thrown in the preseason, Hoge?
That would be 0.
0. Okay. I mean, I get it. There was a sweet ball to Rome in the corner, and he was standing out of bounds, and he should have been in there. And whatever. Maybe the pass to Tyler Scott would have been a touchdown had pass interference not been happened. Whatever. But the bottom line is they haven't scored a ton of touchdowns. He ran in his one touchdown while he was on the field. I would like to see them go down the field, throw touchdown pass. That would be cool to me. They haven't done it yet. So.
Well, you'll get to see him throw for four touchdowns against the Titans.
That's fine. Maybe that's fine. Maybe I hope we do. I'm not saying that he won't, but I would have just, you know what? Let's just do a couple. Let's do 10 extra push-ups here, and then we'll come off the field. You can't live in.
So let me turn your logic on you a little bit, okay?
Okay. Go ahead.
So you're good with the defense not playing in Kansas City.
I mean, I'd still play him, but I would still allow. Go ahead, Gervon Dexter Sr. Let's see some more from you. I'm interested in all the reps that you can get guys who are going to be playing opposite.
But that's kind of the same point I'm making. Okay. What are you going to learn from DJ Moore and Keenan Allen in Kansas City?
Nothing.
Okay. Cole Kmet?
Not a whole lot.
Gerald Everett?
It would be for Caleb getting comfortable. We know about them. It would be for them building.
I'll keep going. Like even Braxton Jones.
No, I think he needs to play, dude. I think
Tevin Jenkins.
Yeah, play, stay healthy, be on the field, get chemistry.
Those are two different things.
But okay, forget about the play and stay healthy. Listen, the offensive line, that chemistry needs to still build in my mind. Yes, Braxton next to Tevin, next to Coleman, next to Nate, next to Darnell, with Ryan Bates foaming at the mouth. When's he going to get to play, being ready to go? I think that needs to happen. Yes. I don't think it's going to hurt him.
Yeah, but I guess Ryan Bates isn't going to play this week. I don't think you need. I think Tevin's actually at the top of a list of guys you don't want to risk getting hurt by playing preseason reps when he's looked as good as he have. Nate Davis, sure, I'll listen to that one. Darnell Wright, I think he's flipped his training camp around pretty good. Yeah, I could listen to an argument about Darnell Wright still having to get some more reps. It's just but you can't have it both ways. Like you can't just all of a sudden plug and play a couple guys. It's really got to be more of an all or nothing thing. I'd probably say the one exception being DJ and Keenan can sit and you throw Rome out there with some of the other guys. But it's just, I think with what we learned on Saturday, when you start to have this same type of conversation inside the walls of House Hall, you just reach a very natural conclusion that it's not worth the risk.
So go back to Eric Bochanton's comment, because I think it makes sense. And let's also talk about the fear in it. Caleb ended the Bengals game positively. Let him ride that positive momentum into the season. More risk than benefit from playing Thursday. Injuries, performance is poor. Do we really think injuries, you can't predict it. You're playing football. It could happen anytime. I'm not saying you just throw him in harm's way just to throw him in harm's way, but he's a rookie learning to play football in the NFL. So that's it. But the back end point that he's making, and I get it, and it's a scarcity argument. Oh no, he might have a bad game, and then he won't be in the same mental place. That's not the dude that you have at quarterback, man. If he doesn't play well, there'll be a learning experience for him. He'll take it, he'll grab it, and he'll move forward. It's going to happen during the season. He's going to go up and down, and I think we've already seen that one of the reasons why you want to bet big on this guy is because he can handle the roller coaster that is playing that position. And I'm not worried about like, oh no, he had a bad game. He threw a couple of picks against the Chiefs. He's not going to be ready mentally for the season to start. I don't think that matters with Caleb. Now it probably did matter somewhat with say a guy like Mitch Trubisky, who was maybe not as firm as Caleb is as far as his mental process.
Well, I like that guy Finley's comment is up there on the screen right now too, because he says this is an absolute nothing game. Yes, I want Christmas early too, but touchdowns or not, it doesn't matter. Nobody will know or care what they did in preseason once the season starts. There's nothing more true than that, because the second the regular season starts, I don't even remember who the Bears played in the preseason.
That's like, true, but
can you name the preseason schedule a year ago? Because I can't.
I can barely name this year. Who do we play? Oh yeah, the Texans, and then we had the Bills and the Bengals. I'm amazed that I got that right.
But that's kind of the point. Like if you told me, Carm, that they were going to go through a game week here and really game plan and break down the Chiefs defense and have Caleb Williams go through all of that stuff, and that now to a point, they are actually trying to simulate a game week. That's why practices have been later. This is more of the regular season schedule, but I don't think they're in there breaking down, how Chris Jones wins his number one or his one-on-one matchups, across the offensive line. It's just, that's not where they're at. And if anything, start to go through that process with the Tennessee Titans. Start working on that now.
Yeah.
That'll help Caleb more than a couple reps in Kansas City.
Kevin Bourne, birthing himself in a beautiful way right now. They're I haven't seen Bourne on a comment. So do you just birth yourself out of the CHGO Bears podcast? You are born right now, Kevin, and I love what you're doing. The most important part, he writes, is that Caleb and the other starters prep as if they're playing on a short week, but there's no substitute for live game reps as a quarterback. Right.
Totally agree. I just feel like he's gotten enough in this preseason. That's
okay. I'm not gonna listen. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. And to Guy's point, it's not so much cake and eat it too. It's more so like they started last year 0-4. They weren't ready, so I'm still like have some of that in my head that they're going about it perhaps a little too tepid. Yeah, but they were injured to start the season last year. If you want to put that in there, and
they also seem more.
I'm okay. Don't worry. I'm okay. Everything's all right. It's a week off. I saved the light.
Yeah, I noticed you're not using that birthday gift either.
Yeah, no, we haven't figured that one out yet. But ladies and gentlemen, and since you just brought it up, I'd like to thank Adam Hoge, who helped me on my birthday get a brand new mic, which is
still in the box.
It's actually out of the box somewhere, but it's going to be amazing when I figure out how to use it. Which, that's all.
Would you like your official return with the Pizzatola super chat?
There it is. $5. I was hoping Carm was gone for a week to secretly replace Parco, so CHGO could hire some real talent to replace him. Hoge, how about Johnsy? Listen, Pizzatola. You know what? Pizzatola, I thought about you on vacation. Just know that. You crossed my mind one time and I missed you. So it's good to see you back with a nice.
Was that in the middle of your ayahuasca trip? You're just
Yeah.
Pizzatola.
In the middle of camp. There's a new camp song that I learned, and I was putting Pizzatola's name into it. The Drunken Sailor. I'm not going to sing it. Don't worry.
Well, Braggs took care of that for you while you were gone.
Oh, that's good.
Singing Metallica on her.
Yeah.
I don't even remember if it was pre or post at this point. All right. Well, regardless, they ain't playing. There might be a couple that get out there. I think it's an okay decision. I admit I did not think I was going to be here, a couple weeks ago. But I think it's a testament to the work that they've gotten done. And also, you got to factor in how long this camp's been. I think that's a factor too.
That's a good point.
I kind of forgot until Austin Reed was on the 85 of Cole Kmet the other day, and they were talking about this. The rookies got there 5 days before the veterans did. Like this is like week 6 for them already, and there's still 2 weeks before the season starts.
Fair point.
2.5 weeks.
Fair point. And live reps are live reps. Getting to run out at Arrowhead, play whoever is in the Chiefs uniforms. Again, not losing sleep over it. I think that the way they went about the first half in the Bengals game, that was I really appreciated the philosophy that came through. It was lovely.
And I also bring it back to today. I like that they had at least one more hardcore pads on long training camp practice this week too. Which you probably wouldn't do on a short week when you're playing from Saturday to Thursday. So I think that they probably went a little bit harder than they might have otherwise, and so they're still getting work in. It's fine.
All right, last one on this. Who plays? Who's your guest of the stars that play?
Yeah. Good question.
Would they really stick Nate Davis out there by himself? Hey, buddy, you've been hurt. And
probably not.
Yeah,
probably not. Yeah, I don't know that Nate Davis plays. I don't know that Darnell Wright. I bet you it looks very similar to who played in the first week.
Maybe.
And that was basically nobody. Javon Dexter didn't play.
Well, it's interesting that he did use the word most of the starters. So I think he's got someone in mind that he's playing.
We've seen Jaquan Brisker back at practice this week a little bit. Does he get out there? But he isn't really still doing a full practice, so I doubt it. And honestly, it was you're just doing the Brisker hand thing. Saturday's game was proof that some of these guys like Kyler Gordon, guys barely been practicing. He comes back, he looks like he's going to win NFL Defensive Player of the Year.
Shot out of the cannon. Guy looked amazing.
And after the second play he made, I'm like, okay, you can take him out of the game. I'm good. He can come back. We'll see him week 1. And there's a lot of guys like that right now. I don't know that any of them really play.
Based on that comment, why don't they just go into a deep yoga, meditation, massage chamber for the next, I don't know, how many days until 22 days? So we're down to, it'll be 17 on Thursday. I don't know, for 2 weeks. What do you think? Reinvent the wheel. Chicago Bears have entered massage yoga retreat mode.
Are you giving me permission to just go on a week-long vacation next week? I'll do it.
Well, I am.
Yeah, take off all of August, middle of the training camp.
Listen, you can't try out for the U.S. Open as a ball boy and not go to the U.S. Open. I gotta go.
Well, you can if you didn't make it.
Yeah, but I'm going to be. I'm going to be leaning over the court.
Are you still an alternate in the middle of the tournament?
As far as I know,
if you accidentally just start tripping a couple of them, and oh no, this guy's got a knee injury, I'm in.
Exactly. No one's told me I'm not an alternate. Let me go injure that guy. They've got an hour and a half in between shifts. When he leaves the court and goes to the locker room, I could go.
Okay, Tanya Harding, why don't you settle down?
I could Tanya Harding one of these people.
Don't. Jesus. It's your dream. Bragg's in the stands in here. Carm, weird massage talk and preseason panic. He's officially back.
Oh, okay. Just so you know, I sat with Gregory today, and I was quoting him. Direct quote for Greg. And he literally said this out loud to people in the ADA place. The air feels sexual. It's like smooth. He said that out loud. He called it sexual air. Smooth air. You can chat about that, Greg. I wrote it down. The air feels sexual. I think it's because he felt like it was fallish out there and it was just smooth and football-y and
sexual air.
I was having trouble taking notes today. There was not a whole lot.
Like an 80s album or something.
Yeah. The air feels sexual. Greg Bragg's 2024 Bears training camp.
Well, he was romanticizing. It was his last day out there in Bears land.
Him and Gary and and then the other one too. To that point, there was a lady walking up with a cane who was not having the easiest time getting to her seat, and Braggs yelled at her, "Hey, get out of the way!" And apparently he's become friends with her somewhat. So she looked up and like saw who was yelling at him and like chuckled. But I was like, that's horrible because this person.
Oh, someone he knew?
A little bit, but I don't think he knows her name. And, she was going as fast as she possibly could.
Yeah.
And
he knows her name. I guarantee it.
I bet he doesn't.
You missed on Saturday when they were showing all like the crazy face painted fans and all that. Oh, I know that person.
Yeah.
I know that person. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the Ryan Poles interview yesterday. Carm, you saw it?
I did. I did. I watched the entire thing this morning.
I haven't had a chance to share some of the takeaways yet. So yeah, in case you missed it, Ryan Poles, our annual sit down with the GM, which goes back to I think 2016. We used to do this with Ryan Pace, and Ryan Poles has been, very, very kind to continue our tradition on the Hogan Johns podcast of doing the training camp sit down. He invited us in his office yesterday, which was very cool, and I think we hit on a lot of topics in what turned out to be almost 30 minutes. So definitely go check that out on the Hogan Johns YouTube channel or wherever you listen to the podcast if you haven't heard it yet. Some more like specific sort of nuts and bolts things that I wanted to bring here, kind of pull out of there. One was Karan Amagaji, who we've seen come back to practice this week. And asking him, like, what's realistic for we're talking a 3rd round pick who hasn't been practicing since you drafted him, who's making a jump from the Ivy League on top of that. What's realistic for ramping him up, getting him ready for games when he essentially missed all of training camp? Like, we're at the end of training camp, right? And I thought his answer was very interesting because it was very candid and being like, yeah, this is a longer process. It's going to be a longer process. He mentioned October, maybe September, but I think you're looking at a situation where it's very likely Karan Amagaji, and this really shouldn't come as a surprise, is probably on the roster and inactive to start the season, maybe the whole first month of the season. But he did say this is somebody that we expect to play at some point as a rookie and help us. That's going to be their plan, that they do have to ramp him up to have him help because injuries happen. You're going to need all your offensive linemen usually at some point. But he did also kind of leave the door open to the idea of, if we stay healthy and everything's going well, maybe you don't see him that much this season too. So I just found it to be a very understandable interesting answer.
Yeah, I think well, okay, I'll just stay in the Quran corner and not go into the entire interview. The Quran thing, what was interesting to me, Hoge, which you would just underline, was that we're going to need him at some point. I thought he was being very realistic that, look, he ain't ready right now, but we're going to continue to ramp him up and see how much he can handle and get him ready, in essence, as quick as possible, because at some point we expect him to be on the field this year. So did they know that it was going to take this long for him to come back? I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that they played the long game with him, and he did have a significant surgery. He said today when we got to talk to him that he wanted to play right after it, but he wasn't obviously ready. And the Bears, I think, did protect the player from himself, who clearly wanted to be out there early. That's what he said. And they're looking at this as, okay, we're going to punt on September in essence, but hopefully by October, 4 games into the season, this is a guy that's ready to contribute, and we'll see what he can grow into and see if our scouting is correct.
Yeah. And I think this has taken longer than they thought, because after the draft, they made it sound like they thought he'd be ready for training camp, and but they're taking their time with it, and that's understandable. So yes, it's good Quran's out there practicing again, but I think everybody needs to kind of pump their brakes. It's not like this guy's gonna be taking somebody's starting job soon.
He did look good in pads today, though. Sometimes you got to see how somebody fills out the uniform.
He's a fit Quran Amagaji.
He looked like an NFL player to me. So that was for whatever that's worth.
Tevin Jenkins, extension talk. Because we've heard Tevin's side of it. We haven't really heard Ryan Poles' side of it. But Tevin telling the media at the start of camp that the Bears told his people, got to get to the bye week before we start talking extension. And, without confirming that completely, Ryan Poles basically did confirm that. And we've talked to his side, and they need to see more durability and a good stretch of play here. And they'll continue those conversations. And also and I encourage you to go back to listen to it in his own words. He sounds very happy with Tevin Jenkins right now. He seems to really like Tevin Jenkins as a player. And I have to say, and this is just sort of me interjecting with a guess at this point, Carm, but if Tevin Jenkins plays every snap between now and the Bears bye week after the London trip, I think they get an extension done that week. I think they get an extension done during the bye.
Yeah, my reading of that is if Tevin will do a Cole Kmet style deal at that time, not want every last dollar out there, but is willing to take a little bit less to have some stability and be here, and he stays healthy, I think I would tend to agree with your assessment of how he talked about him. And he gave credit to Tevin. He also gave credit to the Bears. It's how they've gone about building Tevin up from when they got him to where he is now. So I think in an ideal world for Poles, he ends up with Tevin here on a nice win-win deal, so to speak.
Well, he looks really good to me, not just in practice, but sort of in practice because you don't notice him. That's a good thing. But then in the games, you're noticing him for good reasons. He's cracking guys again like he loves to do, and shows up on that tape. He's leading Caleb into the end zone. There's some good stuff from Tevin Jenkins so far this month. And
he fell down today. He got knocked down. It looked a little awkward, and there's something going on with his leg or whatever. He got up a little gingerly, but then didn't leave the field. Stayed in there, finished the practice.
Awesome. All right, let's get to some super chats. We'll close this show out. Again, we're back later tonight after Hard Knocks. Samuel jumping in here with $10. Boy, I don't know if Carm should answer this or not. What do you think Tyson Bagent's realistic ceiling is? He's been playing well lately and seeing quarterbacks like Daniel Jones starting. I think he can realistically be a top 32 starting caliber quarterback.
Well, Samuel, here in Bagent Central, we aren't taking any chips off the table. I mean, you could say top 32, but why?
You should just quote Flus. We don't put ceilings on guys.
We don't. And look, 17. I mean, he was nearly perfect against the Bengals, and we won't talk about the pick today that happened. That was an absolutely horrific throw. We'll just leave that one out of there. Look, I think Tyson Bagent could be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I've said it 100 times. I'm going to say it 101 times. So how good? Who the hell knows? But can he be the next Brock Purdy in the absolute right system? I wouldn't take that off the table. That's super tall right there. But is he somebody that you can just put a team on his back? I'm going to bet against that on that one. But I think in the right situation, I think Tyson Bagent could be a real good quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. And there was some chatter on Twitter yesterday, just people throwing out the idea of like, oh, Tyson looks good. Do you trade him? Get some, turn an undrafted guy into a decent draft pick? I wouldn't do that. I think you need the quarterback depth. I think we've seen that here in Chicago. And I think you enjoy the fact that you have quarterback depth and you just hold on to them.
Threw a dime to Simba Webster today. It was one of the better balls of the day.
Future death.
All right.
$20.
We're all headed to you, buddy.
Yeah. Been a fan since the Bears Bros. Shout out Nick and Will. Was wondering if you are able to purchase certain events for the Arizona trip like you are for London. Love you guys. Great question. And I think that I don't know.
I've got the answer for you. I actually just looked it up on truefantravel.com. So it does say that the specific packages for like tailgate and ticket that will be released August 2024. So we're there. So any day now, you should see that pop up on the website.
Yeah. So, but yeah, look, you want to come for the whole deal.
Death, live, come with us. You can afford it.
Well, he might live in Arizona, which I get. There's a lot of Bears fans that live in Arizona. So yes, for those of you that we told people in London the same thing. There's going to be opportunity for those of you to still come hang out with us. All right. Quackinator, $5 dropping by to say, welcome back, Carm. The pod just isn't the same without you.
Thank you, Quackinator. I missed you. Appreciate you, brother.
I'd like to apologize to everybody or not apologize, but just I hope everybody enjoyed how professional the pod was last week.
I am here to drag this thing back into the gutter as quick as possible. So thank you for.
We did miss you. Crystal, I know Crystal missed you. $9.99. Carm, welcome back. I missed you. Love you guys. Bear down. Sorry, I was late getting in today.
Crystal, you made my day today with the When's Carm coming back on Twitter. Thanks so much. I appreciate you. And it is great to be back. I've been looking forward to the show for at least 38 minutes before it started today. No, I've been looking forward to getting back since I left. Good to be
here. Down Omaha, $2. Anyone else miss the ComEd E?
EE. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Of course.
Yeah, upper management said killed that one.
That one got shot down from people above us. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. EE? Yeah. Brags in the stands, $2. I've missed Carm very much. Welcome back.
Oh, that's so sweet, Gregory. I told him I've got a gift for him, but we decided.
I've seen the gift.
Yeah, we decided that it'll be better in person on the show. So
pregame Thursday night.
Aren't we at home? Isn't that a
remote not? Show? Yeah, not happening. You're right.
Yeah,
not happening Thursday. In a show near coming soon.
Yeah,
probably.
After Labor Day. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, you're going again next week. Guy's home for 5 days.
I'm building up my reserves so I will not miss one show the rest of the year, nights, whatever you need. That's what that's what it is. Look, Hoge, you had your 3-week siesta in the middle of the summer. Now, granted, my timing is a little more aggressive. I will grant you that, but you guys are so good. You're fine.
Gritty, yeah, we are fine. Gritty, $2. I'm back. MJ Carm.
Thank you, Gritty. You're my guy.
The Giggities, $5. Pizzatola might have died a little inside seeing you, but for some of us, welcome back, Carm.
Thank you, Giggities.
It is good to have you back. All right. Hey, tonight, as soon as Hard Knocks is over, we are right here. It's Bears After Dark. Braggs, myself, Mark Carman, Corey Wooten coming your way tonight with Shannon Furman, producer of Hard Knocks, producer, director, genius of the show. and she'll be joining us. We're very excited about it. So make sure you are there for that later. In the meantime, follow us all over social media and check out the new Roku channel. CHGO going next level on you. Go check it out. And yeah, we'll see you in a few hours. Talk to you then.
We all silly like the mayor.